hope you've been well. Consoh Kijo here. This is Inspire YG. And it's another week, and I thought I'd pop in here and have a conversation with you. I think it's raining outside, if I'm not wrong. But anyway, if you're here for the first time, welcome. Consoh Kijo. Inspire YG. YG means young generation, and I started this page and this foundation. It's actually a foundation that has got huge dreams and aspirations. So now one of the things that my foundation is about, it's the topic I'm talking about today, or the topic addressing today. It's something to do with what my foundation is all about. Some part of it. It's about many things, but part of it. Now, so first and foremost, I want to say that I kept telling myself, do I know enough to talk about this topic? But then I thought, I'm a woman. That in itself qualifies me to talk about this topic. Now, the topic is about what do you call it? Tackling period poverty. Now, for those who don't know what period poverty is, there has been conversations around the world about, why sanitary products are taxed in different countries, why those products or sanitary products are actually classified as luxury products, while women actually need them just as much as we all need oxygen. And it's funny because I thought of looking at this topic. Initially, I was going to talk about my journey with struggling, because my journey has been like this when it comes to talking about periods and menstruation. So I don't quite remember at what age I was when I got my first period. I might probably talk to my mom. I should have done it before I did this video, but that's okay, we're here. I just know that I must have been going to high school. I was just about to get to high school, or I was in high school, maybe the first year or second year of high school. I need to remember, I just can't. But I just remember, like, I learned a lot about it at school, because I was in a boarding school, and it was a mixed boarding school, and we had some teachers who talked about it, from what I can remember. Or the teachers brought in some people who are specialized in that field, to come and talk to us about it. So I had some idea about what periods are, but nothing sort of prepared me to when it actually happened. I think this is how it is when women talk about, the journey, the pregnancy journey. Like, you can have all the information you need, but I think until you get to that journey yourself, because it's different, every woman is different, you're still gonna learn something new. So it's the same thing with myself. So I just remember, initially my main issues were shame and embarrassment. I just thought, I'm probably gonna be ashamed, I'm probably gonna be embarrassed. My main concerns were around that, shame and embarrassment, but it was also, am I gonna survive? Because I had connected blood and in pain and suffering and probably even death, and you're telling me, if you cut my finger, it will be painful, I will bleed. But people talk about I will bleed to death, and I was thinking, you're telling me there's a possibility I might bleed for 7 days. So it still did not make any sense to me. But anyway, my worries were also, I was always concerned about the clothes I wear. I had to always wear black, maybe black pants. But when I was in school, it was more of I'm minding the way I sit, because I don't want maybe my pad to go sideways. I'm afraid that I might swell, and then I might have a stain. I probably even put a sweater around me. I thought, I'm gonna share this because I know there are kids maybe who are in the situation that I was in, and I'm talking about kids get their periods, girls get their periods from the age of 9 all the way up to 15. And I think there's some who go even later, up to 16. But the experience is different for everyone. So I would just share my experience. So, yes, I was afraid of soiling, having a patch on my dress. I was afraid that, other kids might make fun of me. But also, it was just terrifying. Like, it was just terrifying. How am I going to bleed? Is it going to be droplets? Is it going to be like a glass full? You have questions as a young girl, and sometimes you don't feel comfortable even talking to your parents, especially if it's not something you discussed at home openly. And so I'm going to share some of the things that I found out when I was doing this. I did a bit of research to see whether I can find some information out there that will remind me of how that journey was for me. So, they did a study they did some research in Ireland back in 2018, and they spoke to over 1,000 girls actually. So I think it was between those ages, like I think it was 12 to 19 or 18, just around that mark. And the girls were sharing some of their challenges. And one of the things they talked about was shame and embarrassment that they felt about talking, just around that topic. They didn't want to talk about their periods. It was just a lot of shame and embarrassment. And then they talked about they feared using tampons because they thought they're going to lose their virginity. I struggled with this, maybe wearing to my maybe even early 20s. I had never had a conversation about tampons. I knew about sanitary towels, but like tampons, I don't think I had ever used them. And there was that misconception that you might lose your virginity. There's also something about they did not think that it was possible to get pregnant while on periods. So you can actually get pregnant when you're on periods, but most girls did not actually. They just thought, oh, you know what, when I'm on my periods, I might not get pregnant. And some girls shared that was a shock for them when it actually happened. And then 80% of them say that they felt uncomfortable to talk to their fathers and their teachers about periods, like about the whole experience, everything they were going through. They couldn't talk to their fathers or their teachers. And I felt, wow, yeah, like I don't even remember. I just remember I learned about periods at school, but I don't remember the actual teacher who talked about it. That shows that I probably felt the same way, a bit uncomfortable to address it or to talk about it to a teacher. But I don't also remember sitting down and talking to my dad about it. I might have asked him money to go and buy sanitary towels, maybe if mom wasn't home, but I don't remember sitting down and talking to my dad about it either. And these guys are in Ireland and I was in Kenya. So, it's just the whole stigma and shame around period talk. The whole thing just crosses borders. It goes across the board. Women all over the world go through it, and it doesn't matter which part of the world you're in. As long as you're a woman, you could go through this. And which is amazing because this is actually a natural female bodily function. So now let's talk about why has it been commercialized for all this time. And I've been thinking about, wow, when you talk about that song, it's a man's world. It is a man's world. It's a man's world. And sometimes when you talk about topics like this, you might be branded things like, oh, you're a feminist, the angry, upset woman who is always complaining. But let's think about it for a second. Like, let's just think about it. We had a guy called Maslow. Wait, was it called Maslow? I don't know. I just know there was something called Maslow hierarchy of needs. Now, obviously, it had the basic needs, the water, the food, the shelter, the safety, all the way to self-actualization, right? Now, this guy never talked about sanitary towels. I'm not expecting him to talk about sanitary towels anyway, but I'm just saying, as even in class, when we were in class discussing this Maslow hierarchy of needs, never did it ever cross my mind that actually sanitary towels are essential needs, just as much as people would think sanitary towel. I mean, what do you call it? Tissues. Tissues are what people were running to the stores to buy when there was a COVID, when the COVID mess started. I mean, we can do without tissues. Can we do without sanitary towels? Can girls do without sanitary towels and still go to work and still go to school? Is it possible? I don't think it is. To just not have these essential products or items and still function as if it's okay. And it just amazes me that I'm sitting here at 2021 and as I was doing this research, honestly, it's almost like before 2018, it's almost like there was like some silence. There's pretty much no much articles before 2018 talking about tampon tax, talking about why all these countries, why we have female representatives in parliaments around the globe, and yet we still have something like tampon tax. I couldn't, like, there's something that I just saw and I laughed. It said pads and tampons, this is in the UK, are classed as luxury items, but plain biscuits are considered essential items. I'm sorry. I just need to laugh because I just, I don't know why, but that was so funny to me that sanitary towels are considered luxury, but plain biscuits are considered essential items. I know very well I can survive without plain biscuits. Yes, I can. I just don't know how I can go to work or I can go to school without a pad if I'm having my periods. And yet, these are the people who've been put in such positions to represent humanity. Sometimes I just feel like I belong to a different planet. I just don't know what I'm doing here. Anyway, so yeah, now some articles that I saw are as new as January. And actually, if you go online and have a look, there is so much discussion. I don't know what happened during COVID period, but it's as if people just woke up and just realized, oh my God, we've been paying so much tax on tampons. We've been paying so much tax on sanitary towels. I'm like, guys, we've been here since God knows when. And I don't know why all of a sudden there's this buzz about tampon being taxed. Why have they been taxed all this time? First and foremost, I remember this story and I wrote it here so that I can remember. In the 90s, when I was young growing up, and we lived, in hospital vicinities because my parents are both essential workers that work in the medical field. And I remember walking across the hospital, like just, how kids, kids just go everywhere, just exploring and being adventurous. And at the time, obviously, that's when there was, HIV and AIDS was a pandemic everywhere. And obviously, governments around the world, and especially in Africa, especially in Kenya, obviously they had to find ways to help people prevent the transmission of HIV and AIDS. And one of those things they had to do was provide free condoms, for contraceptives, obviously. And I remember just walking around. Obviously, at this time, I don't know what condoms are. I'm so young. But I'm thinking, why are these things free? Why are these things free? But then it became so prevalent, like you would just see advertisement out there, like just openly talking about it, just encouraging young folks to have safe sex and things like that to avoid the spread of HIV. And I thought, if the government could provide free contraceptives for people, right? Especially when adults make a choice to have sex. You make a choice to have sex, right? You can do You're not going to die if you don't. So it's a choice you've made, but it's free. How come the same government never thought about girls who come, especially from less privileged backgrounds, not managing to go to school first and foremost, not managing to live a normal life, from their counterparts, boys their age, and their life having to be, their 7 days a month having to be paralyzed because they cannot go to school because they don't have sanitary towels and they're bleeding. What kind of an unfair world are we living? You don't even need to be a feminist to think this is absurd, that these products are not free for every woman. You know what I mean? Like I just these are things that has been in my mind for many years, obviously. But now I feel like I have this platform, I can talk about it, and also to see like whether other people will think I'm weird for thinking this has gone for all these decades and centuries and not be addressed. Anyway, I found out some good news though. I am so proud of the two countries I consider home, because they made me proud tonight. I have to say that, because I went on, like I said, I was on this research and I was trying to find out which countries at least have got sensible members of parliament, or at least sensible people representing the majority in the positions of power, or the seats of the policy making seats. And these countries are, obviously one of them has to be Ireland. And I don't know whether that survey that I was talking about, that research of those girls talking about their plight and everything that they've endured, a girl in Ireland saying they cannot afford a sanitary towel. What? I mean, what are the chances a girl in somewhere in rural Kenya will even be heard and will even afford sanitary towels? You know what I mean? So I was like, wow. Anyway, I don't know whether that's one of the research that could have influenced Ireland to get to this level, but obviously it's one of the countries that has got zero tax rate on their sanitary goods. And then obviously in November, we had Scotland, followed through to be one of those countries that has allowed free universal access to menstrual products, including tampons and pads in public facilities. And then globally, you have just a handful of countries, honestly, that have zero tax on sanitary products. And that's Canada, India, Australia, Kenya, and several US states. I'm just so proud of Kenya and I'm just so proud of Australia to be in this list, because, and I'm so proud to call these two countries home, because I feel like we have some sensible people, some sensible people in the seats of, in positions of power, some sensible people in those seats of decision making that not just realized, probably had been pushing for years on end to pass a bill that would say that, hey, why are we having tampon tax on essential goods, right? Anyway, I'm happy. My heart feels so good. I'm gonna sleep tonight having some information I did not know, and I'm really, really happy about this. And obviously, you have Germany, which just voted to reduce its tax rate. But where are all the other countries? How many countries do we have in the world? Where are all of you? I'm not sure if you're going to see this video, or someone within your country who is an activist or a member of parliament will ever see this video, or a similar video of someone else who will talk about tampon tax. But it's ridiculous. And let me talk to the guys, actually. The men. Now, you might think, oh, you know what? I don't have to worry about this. I don't have to deal with periods ever in my life. But guess what? You might, I'm just saying, we are living in a free world, but you might marry a woman, right? You might marry a woman. But I can promise you, if that woman will be productive, healthy woman, they will need sanitary towels every month. And guess what? If you're going to love them and support them, the budget that you'll be making within your family is going to include sanitary towels. So guess what? Your pocket will still be impacted. So if you think that this is a gender issue, it's not. It's a humanity issue. Also, if you're a man, you might end up having daughters, right? My dad had two. There are people who get 4 daughters only. Now, you might not have reached that place where you want to have this conversation with your daughters, but trust me, you will want to be that dad that supports her daughters, right? We had situations, I've heard of stories where, kids come from very less fortunate backgrounds, that they had to go out there and get married to older men so that these men can provide them with sanitary towels. There are dire stories out there and dire situations, just because people in positions of power will not be selfless to think about young girls growing up. And it breaks my heart. It really does. And I just feel like if talking about it today might get us somewhere, in this kind of conversation, like if I speak today, another person speaks, maybe these are the things that will create global change. You know what I mean? I believe in my voice first and foremost. Like I said, we are living in information age, so I really don't know. If you're listening, if you're watching this video, please share it. Please share it, because I want every single person saying that they're a global or world leader and sitting in positions of power, and yet they sit there in their countries and they're taxing tampons and pads. You know what I mean? And medication that girls need when they have pain. Let's talk about medication first and foremost. This video is going to be long today. I'm going to talk today because this topic just aches me. I mean, I just looked at how much money I spend every month. First and foremost, I was talking about my story as when we started. My journey has really changed. Like I said, initially, my worries as a young girl were about shame, about embarrassment, about whether I'm going to swallow my clothes when I'm in class, and I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would have to check my bed. Did I swallow my bed? These are things that I worried about when I grown up. Now, I don't even need to worry about those kind of things right now, because my worries, my problems, my issues have advanced. Now I have terrible pain, terrible pain. I just have to say last year was my worst in terms of period pain and cramps and just the whole hormonal imbalance. And I mean, I had period pains when I was in high school, when I was 15 or 16, 15 to 19. But I think as I got older, it got worse. And I think, there's a lot of things I've tried. Like, obviously I've done a bit of tests, because at some point I thought I had fibroids. At some point I thought I had cysts, though it was maybe early stages of endometriosis. Because obviously we have a lot of issues that women face. Not everybody, like I say, some women don't have any sort of pain, just a bit of discomfort, but some people have to even be hospitalized because of the pain or complications that come about with menstruation every month. So it's a case by case situation. Now, last year especially, I experienced a lot. I don't know, maybe it could have been the underlying stress with COVID, with the pandemic, with trying to figure out life and everything else, just after my graduation the year before. But I just had a lot of pain. And for me, it's a whole, within a month. How many weeks do we have in a month? 4, right? Apart from the leap year, whatever. But within 4 weeks, I have 2 weeks where, as I speak right now, I have terrible migraines. I'm happy it doesn't have to show on the face, but I have terrible migraines as we speak. I have terrible pimple, if you can see. But I'm already experiencing, it's already like reminding me, hey, we are about to come. And I have to deal with migraines. Normally I get migraines a whole week before, so I have to be on painkillers almost a whole week. And then I get these painful pimples. Obviously, it's a lot of women do get that, but I also get things like backaches. I get abdominal pain. I get burning sensation. In my, obviously it feels like it's in your tummy, but I know it's, there's a whole thing happening in your uterus. But I get backaches. I get nausea. I feel vomiting. It's just a whole, it's a mess. And sometimes people say, oh, you're moody because you're on your menses. And I'm like, that can actually be very insensitive, because someone could just be in pain. I've been very, very lucky that my manager understands. I mean, I'm lucky first and foremost. She's a woman. She went through the whole journey herself. She's had a fair share of my kind of pain, so she sort of understands, and she helps me maneuver around it. But sometimes it's so bad I can't go to work, and especially between last year and this year, it has just gotten worse. The first 2 days I am almost functionless. I can't leave my bed. I'm in so much pain. I can't walk. I can't eat. The only thing I can do is probably drink water, warm water. That there's nothing else I can do. I'm in so much pain. I cannot sleep in bed. I sleep kneeling down. And when I tell you, I don't like complaining about it, because it's a sign reminding me that I'm a woman. So I'm okay about it, and I also feel like it's my cross to carry, and something to help me be able to relate to other girls, and that's why I'm very passionate about this topic. Now, I talk about that because I was talking about the prices of sanitary towels, but then now I'm talking about some of the other prices that I incur when it comes to buying medication. If I'm going, medication like ibuprofen doesn't help me, so I have to buy medication like Ponstan, which will cost me between $10 to $12 a month. And it is a lot of money, because this medication is probably taxed too. I don't even know, didn't check whether medication is taxed. But I say this to say, I'm sorry this video ended up being too long. I've been trying to do shorter videos, but I'm really passionate about this topic, and I just want to say that the more the world will understand that we cannot classify some issues as gender issues, but they are humanity issues, the quicker we are going to find solutions to some basic issues that we're still dealing with. Because I can't believe in 2021, I'm sitting here doing a video about a girl somewhere in the world not able to function, not able to go to school, not able to work, not able to do anything because they are bleeding. And it's a natural phenomenon, to be honest. It's supposed to be something to be celebrated. It shouldn't be something to be embarrassed about. Dads, please, I don't know what the shame is about. You see blood. You've been playing when you were boys, when you were young, growing up. You fell out of trees. You got hit by whatever. You bled. What is a big deal about talking to your daughters about sanitary towels? What's the shame there? I don't understand. I just think it will start from family. Charity begins at home. If each dad in every family could face themselves and figure out what's the shame or the embarrassment they feel within themselves, and then have a conversation with mom, and then see how you can be free to talk to your daughters. Because God forbid, there's so many fathers out there who are raising who are single fathers raising girls. Those fathers have to learn about what their daughters are going through. Otherwise, where will the girls go? So I just think we can fight the stigma and shame and embarrassment around period talk if we do it from family to family, and also teachers. The story about the girl who killed herself because she was shamed by a teacher after she stained her clothes. That story made me cry, and I was so ashamed of that teacher, wherever that teacher is. I hope he looked at himself or herself in the mirror and felt ashamed, because that's really unfortunate. No child should feel so embarrassed to a point where they don't want to live in this universe at all because of something that is natural. I am talking like I know I'm so passionate about this. I'm going to stop now. But I have to say that again, let's think about things like Maslow hierarchy of needs. If it was Michelle hierarchy of needs, I'm sure sanitary towels or sanitary products would have been there, up there with self-actualization, or start down there with the basic needs. Let's just look at some issues as humanity issues and not gender-based issues. Okay, I'm done. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please, if anything I said resonated, please, I beg, may it resonate with you, and please share this video, because we need to normalize period talk. We need to make period talk normal, and we need to make the world a safer place for girls to be able to feel they can achieve anything that boys their age can achieve. And periods should not be that which stops them from achieving their dreams. Okay, thank you so much, and God bless you. Go out there and be great, and let's make this humanity better, one story, one share after another. Okay.